G'day ladies and germs, Connor here from C-Dubs Media, back with another video. And today we're doing my follow-up to last week's video, which is my top 5 disappointments for the Canon R6. Today is my top 5 reasons why I think you should get the Canon R6, because it is a beast, and I know I slagged it off in the last video, but I think it's worth getting. Okay folks, before I get stuck into the video, don't forget links down below if you do want to pick up a Canon R6, Amazon links, please use my links. And my number one reason to get the Canon R6 is the stabilization in it. With your RF lens and the in-body image stabilization, you are picking up, I think it was about 8 stops of stabilization, which can enable some really good footage for videography, but also some really good handheld shots for photography. And look, I'm pretty jittery when it comes to the old hand, so it's hard for me to get good steady B-roll handheld, and it's hard for me to get a good low light shot handheld. So having this in there has actually lifted my game when it comes to filming and photography, and it's one of the main reasons the R6 and the R5 are now like top of the food chain when it comes to video work. There's a couple of other reasons that you might bitch about, but I've done that video. This is the reasons to do it. So, stabilization, and as you can see from this B-roll, it is really nice to have. So for me, it's like having a gimbal in my hand, and there's plenty of times now where I actually don't need a gimbal. I can just pull out the R6 and get a handheld shot, as you can see from some of this B-roll. So Ridgy Didge, mate, Ridgy Didge. Now my next reason for getting the Canon R6 is 4K 50. And this goes hand in hand with that first comment about the stabilization. So when you got 4K 50, you can slow that down when you're editing it and get some really crispy, smooth B-roll shots. Don't overuse it, but you can get it, and it just gives you that extra flexibility. So what would normally be like a 3-second clip will now be a 6-second clip. So if you only get 3 seconds of nice smooth footage, it now becomes 6, and you can put that on your B-roll and it looks awesome. You Americans, you weirdos filming in 60, get out of here. So again, I mentioned gimbals earlier. So with the 4K 50 and image stabilization, my gimbal doesn't even come out of the box. Now there'll be times where I do need it, but for what I do at the moment, not required. Thank you. Maybe in a commercial shoot or something like that, I'll use it, but right now I just need that 4K 50 and the in-body image stabilization. My next upsell, that's right, even though this is not sponsored, but I do love the Canon R6 for these reasons. And this is a photography one. So if you're into the videography, maybe skip to the next section, but top 5 reasons. Reason number 3, 20 frames per second for photography. Now that is with the electronic shutter, but that gives you 20 frames per second is almost video. And I think, what does the R5 does, 30 frames per second, but here we got 20 frames per second. So if someone's running at you, in 1 second you can blast off 20 photos. Now, whatever for portraits and street photography and landscape and that sort of thing, but for wildlife and sports, that's gonna come in handy. 20 frames per second for photography. I love it, and that's number 3 on my top 5 reasons to get the Canon R6. And I'm also shooting on the Canon 90D now in 4K 25 frames per second. It goes in really well with the Canon R6, 4K 50 frames per second, or 25 or 100 frames per second. It's awesome. And also, links down below for the Canon 90D if you want to pick one up. It's through the Canon Amazon store, and also for the R6 via the Canon Amazon store as well. Help me out if you pick one of these up. Woohoo! It'll be payday. I was trying to expose for the outside and light up the inside, but I couldn't quite get there with the gear I've got. But I did alright. It's just the sky's gone, and I'm a little bit dark on this side, but I like it. It looks good. I'm in love with it. Number 4, high speed frame rate, or 100 frames per second, and it looks amazing. The B-roll you're seeing over the top of this is 100 frames per second. That's of the Canon 90D. Look at me go. And that just looks amazing. To play it back is super smooth already. And again, that removes the need for the gimbal. It looks so good. The image quality is really good. The image quality on Canon with those colors, I just love it. The autofocus is there. We don't have the sound, but this is not for talking head video, this 100 frames per second. This is for B-roll, and you can get it in spades. I just love it. I think it looks incredible. As you can see, that's a 50-second video that I think was about 12 seconds. So amazing, amazing. And it looks so smooth. Thank you, Canon. 100 frames per second. Love it, mate. Love it. Now, my last reason to get the Canon R6 is a new reason. So it's not my last reason, but this is a top 5 video. And the 5th reason on my list is Canon C-Log. This is a new inclusion. So you have to download the latest firmware and install it on your camera. But it is amazing. It gives you that flexibility to record and be able to fully control your image, and it gives you that extra dynamic range as well. It's like a raw image for photography. It's like a raw video file. These take up a lot of space, but once you know how to color grade and work with C-Log, you can change it into anything. You can make it look incredible, and there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube on how to do that. But now we have it in the R6, which, you know, the R6 is considered a professional camera in Canon's mindset, and I think it is, but this just takes it to that next level. So I'm not just going on a shoot where I'm just shooting in IPB or IPB Lite. I can now shoot in C-Log. It looks amazing. It's incredibly flexible, incredibly powerful, and it's a definite plus to the Canon R6. So there's not much more. There's a few things I would like Canon to do to the R6 to take it to that next level, because cameras like the 90D still do have some basic features that you should get on a camera at the price of the R6. So I love my Canon R6. I'm upgrading from the Canon 90D, and the Canon 90D is staying with me. It's not going anywhere, but the R6 just has that next level. The size, the IBIS, the 4K 50, C-Log, 20 frames per second, 100 frames per second for video. I mean, it's just got so much going for it. It really is a beast of a camera. You know what? Overheating, I haven't had any overheating. For my style of shooting, I don't get it. 4K 50, I'm shooting slow product shots, B-roll. I'm not doing long form talking heads in 4K 60, so it's not overheating for me. I haven't had it overheat once. I've had it for about 4 or 5 weeks. It has been amazing. I love it. If you do want to pick it up, links down below. And my next video is the top 5 accessories for the Canon R6. But that's it. That's my top 5 reasons for getting the Canon R6. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to do a couple more videos on the Canon R6. I know they've been done by all the big superstars of YouTube. You know, all the famous YouTubers have done these videos. So without further ado, hit the like button and the subscribe button. And thank you for watching my video. Check ya.